My mother used to do that. My mother used to drive to work every morning because I would ride with her on the way to school, and she would literally just say, "I love my job. I love my job. I love my job. I love my job." I just trying to psych
Fake
herself
it till
up
you make it.
to go in there and make it another day. And she was a school teacher, so you people need to be ashamed of yourselves what y'all do to these people.
Okay, you ready to start the show?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it to it. Let's kick the tires and light the fires.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to One Man and One Woman, the podcast. I am your co-host, Tara Michelle.
And I guess I am can't get right because they was complaining because I was like, why not on whether or not I was ready to start the show, and now I just try to put some energy in there, kick the tires and light the fires, and I get that in. Yeah, so whatever. It is what it is. Y'all know who I am. What we talking about
He
today?
is J. Flan for anyone who's listening for the first time. I apologize for his behavior. So, tonight, we're going to be discussing social media and I don't know the ramifications, the how detrimental it is, just overall. I chose this subject today because I have been seeing things. Now, I don't have a TikTok. I hear so many people talk about how it's their off day. They had so much to do. They got on TikTok and looked up 10 hours later, 8 hours later, and had accomplished nothing. And these people have children. So that concerns me. But more and more, as a person who does not have TikTok, it is bleeding into my life. As a fragrance influencer on YouTube, there's so many people running to me and asking me to review things from TikTok. And they're supposed to be the biggest, best thing. You gotta have it or you gonna die. And when I get it, it smells pretty much like a $5 perfume, like something somebody from TikTok would recommend. But it is powerful how much influence these influencers have. And as an influencer, I thought it was bad on YouTube. I think TikTok is just, its reach is so far and wide that it's just incredibly scary to me. I also saw someone talking on a reel about how they saw a bunch of gamers who had a ton of followers or subscribers or whatever they call them on TikTok who were saying how funny they thought it would be if the United States had a felon, a convicted felon, as a president, and how the United States of America would have more street cred than any other country ever. And that they should just tell all of their subscribers to vote for him as a joke. Like, and these people are old enough to vote. And I just started thinking, this is why everybody's talking about a ban. The power and the influence is huge. I had someone who I care for, who just had a baby. She came and asked me many questions, like crazy questions, like, when is my baby's hair going to fall out? When is all of his hair going to fall out? Now, baby doesn't have any kind of cradle cap. I mean, like, that's just a thing that just, I don't know that that's even still happening anymore. Baby's head of her is full and thick and lush, but whoever told her this on TikTok convinced her it was inevitable, and everybody's baby's hair falls out. And then she wanted to know if she could drink too much water that would turn her breast milk into water. It would just dilute it so much. And she's not drinking more than a gallon. So if you can drink a gallon of water and not be pregnant and you don't mess up anything, when you need more fluids when you're breastfeeding. But again, she was just like, thank God she was calling me for verification, because the thing that bothers me is that so many of these people don't. I'm to the point where I'm so desperate with it that I wouldn't mind if they just checked as a reference Wikipedia. We know Wikipedia is not a trusted site. People can log in and put anything in there they want to, but they're not even doing that. And I'm just wondering where we're headed as a people when social media is consuming everybody's time, their days, their nights, their lives. People cannot function. What was this? Not too long ago, Facebook went down for a few hours. Was it Facebook? I think so, or Instagram or something. Baby, people are gone crazy. What am I gonna do? What you read a book, do some work, take care of your kids, clean the house, get in the shower, wash your hair. What do you mean? What are you going to do? What is this? What are we going to be? Who are we going to be as a people if this is how bad social media is?
Yeah, I agree. Social media is bad. I agree that I don't want to say social media is bad. Social media is just a tool, and mankind has the ability to pervert and corrupt any damn thing. So social media in and of itself isn't a bad thing. But yes, as we do with everything else, we've taken it too far. We've corrupted it. We've perverted it. We've turned it into something that can be hugely dangerous. But that's not like an indictment on the idea or the concept of social media of itself. But I don't know. I mean, I agree with all of those things, but I do think like with most things these days, especially on social media, so much attention is given to the worst of it that it seemed that problems like that seem maybe bigger than they actually are. Because a lot of the things that when we have conversations that you mentioned seeing on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, I don't ever come across. And I know that I'm somewhat unique in that because I have just taken this very heavy-handed stance over the last few years about like trying to tailor my algorithm, like trying very hard to not pay any attention to things I do not like. If I have the option to ask you never to show me anything like this again, I'm going with that option. I'm not commenting on it. I'm not sharing it to ask anybody how stupid it was. If they agree with me, I'm not doing any of that. And so I really don't see a lot of this stuff. And so, yeah, I think, this is another one of those things where we give so much attention to the worst of anything that it looks like that's the majority of it. And I don't, TikTok is what TikTok is. I feel like if you go into TikTok to get advice on how you should live your life, you deserve to get what you get. And and hopefully evolution takes place over a couple years, and all of the people that had TikTok health advice and career advice, they weed themselves out. That sounds horrible, but I don't know what else you
I
gonna do.
mean, I wouldn't feel, and first of all, let me commend you for understanding what the algorithm was early and doing that, tailoring it. Most people don't know that, and they don't know about that. And a lot of people love a train wreck. So they're going to watch the train wreck. But what I think that they are forgetting, or what they're not paying attention to, is the fact that that stuff is getting inside of them. It's becoming an addiction and they need to see it. And when you have, let's be honest, this country and the propaganda, the things that we are led to believe, we have no idea what's going on in the other worlds, or in the other worlds, on the other in the other countries and on the other continents. We're so focused on individualism here in the United States that people have no idea there's things going on outside of them. We are so desensitized to every wrongdoing that's happening in the world because we're too consumed with what we like and what we want. This is dangerous. And no, evolution is not going to take care of these people in a couple of years or even a couple of decades. This is dangerous. These people can vote. These people can do things that are going to affect us. And most people, like, okay, if this were just kids, maybe I wouldn't be so concerned. But I know people in their late 30s, 40s, 50s who are literally only get my news from TikTok. TikTok is just really factual. They're giving all the information out here. They don't trust media, which they shouldn't, because the media, here in UK and places like that are really all held and bought and paid for by like 8 companies. And they give us what they want us to have. And it's really dangerous to me. Listen, I'm going to tell you a story. I've told you this before, but the people here won't have heard this before. But no, you know what? I'm going to save that for another episode because I just put the episode together in my head. So never mind. But I think that we have become a people who distrust or mistrust this government so much that we will happily run it anywhere to get our information from anywhere. And the people who we're listening to with the millions and millions of subscribers are just trying to get money. So if you think some of them are actually telling the truth, which is why they really want to ban TikTok. But there's so much trash and so many lies in the midst of trying to find that one unicorn that's telling the truth that I really think we are being set back in a dangerous space. If anybody's ever seen the movie Wall-E, Wall-E, from Disney, Pixar, or whoever did it, this is where we're headed. We're headed to a time where AI is going to take over. People act like they haven't seen Age of Ultron. iRobot, any of the Terminators, anything that suggests what exactly is going to happen with this AI crap. We're going to all be at home getting paid to be at home. We're going to be 500 pounds because we're just going to drink all of our food through straws. This is where we're headed because this group think, this mob mentality, this hive mentality, where uniqueness and just being your own individual person when it comes to your mind is a problem. If you're rich enough to think for yourself, they're going to make you out to be crazy. You cannot be someone who is going to lead the sheep. They want the sheep or they have the sheep. And the sheep are happy there, following Sierra and Russell Wilson and Taylor Swift and whoever else, because they don't like their lives. They're so miserable and they're so depressed that they want to follow anybody else's lives. Every girl looks alike. All the BBLs, the faces, these lip injections are out of freaking control. Chin and everybody wants to look like Meg Thee Stallion and Kim Kardashian. It's never ending. So because one person, one out of every 20 million people has figured out how to cater their algorithm, that's not going to help us. And the kids are affected.
I mean, one, like, yeah, I guess I'm just not that much of a pessimist. I don't. I think people with sense make sensical decisions, and I think a lot of people with sense aren't the ones that are investing this much time on
And they're
TikTok
few
and
and
things
far
like that.
between.
I think, and another thing that bothers me, is like this rhetoric around like contrarianism. Like people seem to think that somehow if mainstream is sheep, then they just feel like all I have to do is be anti-mainstream, and now I'm outside of the box and I'm woke or whatever it is you want to wrap around it. But that makes you just as easy to control. If I'm the person trying to exert some control, and you've made it clear that whatever I say is wrong and you'll do the opposite, but then I just say the opposite of what I want you to do. Or if you think I have enough control to control all of this over here, you think I have no control in this cloud-based app where that you're getting all your information from, I can just put the information over there. Like it's very weird to me how people have these ideas about they can't trust this, but then this random thing with that you obviously can't trust, because if you took 2 steps in the research and half the things you hear on here, you'd find out it was false. But because it's just not this, you've decided it's trustworthy because this isn't. Like you make yourself very easy to control. And I think this idea of automatic mistrust and automatic trust for certain things is really
Well,
messing us
this
up.
happens
Like
when you create Alexa and Siri and Hey Google, and you don't have to go and look up anything anymore. You don't have to research anything anymore. Instead, it's at your fingertips, like a microwave mentality.
that's
It
blind
is,
trust.
but
That's
but
blind
you can
trust. Like you're
also,
saying these people lie to me, but Siri tells me the truth every time.
but
Like
it's even
that's crazy.
yeah, exactly because what sources is Google pulling up when you say, Show me this," or "What's the answer to this?" So
So that's
when
what I'm
you
saying. This rejection of the mainstream stuff and running over here is just as nonsensical as the blind
But when
trust
you
of the
create
mainstream.
this technology, this is what you do. The better the technology, the dumber the people. You don't have to actually work to research it anymore. So in Google, we trust. It's how a lot of people live their lives. And yes, it may not make any sense, but some references are much better than others. You're probably going to find more factual sources when you do a Google search and you actually sort through those things than you are trusting somebody because they have 10 million TikTok subscribers. You have to weigh it. The problem is they're not even doing
Exactly.
that.
But that's
They don't, whatever is said by whoever they feel like they can trust is gospel to them. Common sense is not common anymore. And it has nothing to do with being a pessimist, the realist.
putting the same logic putting the same logic that you put in. I don't think that's necessarily just being a realist, because there's a lot of exposition in there. There's a lot of, not exposition, but there's a lot of extrapolation in there. There's a lot of taking current events. Like I said, I think we focus so much on the negative that the negative looks larger than it
The
actually
numbers in
is.
our
That it
voting
looks
show
like
this.
more than
The
if
numbers in these suicides with these kids show this. The numbers in the polls when they're taking it to see who's climbing, who's not, show these things.
when you say the numbers in the voting, they show what?
This mob mentality works. When you get behind these machines and you throw out this
Right.
propaganda,
So yeah, we know mob mentality works, but whether whether TikTok is the source of
Well,
whether
see,
these
you don't do the
TikTok
research. If you
influencers
look
have
into the
enough.
research of what this they are not trying to ban Instagram or Facebook. These people out here have done the research to see the voter tampering and all this. They have done all of this research enough to be able to take this to whatever governing body to say, this is how dangerous they are. Here is all of the proof. And now these people are being forced either sell TikTok to someone who is not from China or it's banned in the United
Right.
States. So because you haven't done the research, it's not, oh, I think,
No, see,
but that's how you come
that's
across
not.
because you're like,
See
well, I'm not that much of a
that
pessimist. To me, it was. When you say I'm not that much of a pessimist, that's kind of passive aggressive to me because I don't feel like I'm being a pessimist. I feel like I'm seeing what's going on. I'm seeing that things are actually being changed and affected negatively by social media as a whole, not just TikTok. People are depressed because they're looking at other people's pictures who seem happy and their life isn't that. Like these kids are killing themselves because of that. And even the bullying and the immediate access and the far reach for everybody to see you get whooped in a fight. Like there's so much more than just being a pessimist.
I think you just attached to pessimists and just because I said I believe social media is a problem. I believe man has corrupted social media. I also believe that we focus entirely too much on the negative. To say I haven't done the research because I don't agree with you, I think is a little
Well, you just said you didn't,
unnecessary.
didn't you?
I've done the research.
Have you done the research
No,
into
I
why they're
didn't.
trying to ban TikTok?
Yes, I
Oh,
have done the
what did you
research
find
and
during the
why they're trying to
research?
ban TikTok. That one is a foreign-based company owned by China, and when you look at what TikTok does in China, it's very different. The content that is allowed to come to us does seem targeted and purposeful to try to undermine a lot of, you know, what we hold as our societal ideals. So yes, that is why they're trying to ban TikTok specifically, especially when it's coming from a foreign-based company, because that just automatically seems insidious.
What about the
But no,
voters
I'm aware
and the politics?
they blamed a lot of they blamed a lot of there was a lot of stuff that came out or suspiciously came out or allegedly came out about this voter tampering. Did you see today that Trump is now endorsing mail-in voting and absentee
I
balloting?
mean,
Like the same things that they said were the devil that allowed somebody to steal the election, they now say, yeah, let's do
because he
it.
has
So
a lot of people who can't leave their
a
house
lot
to vote for
most of
him.
that was baseless. And a lot of that was baseless. None of it held up in court. So I don't understand why we're just running with that as fact. As if you researched and saw that, then now you should say it's fact because it
No,
hasn't been proven at all,
when
not
they
even
put their
close.
facts together and they go and take it to a governing body and they are allowed, they win the case and are allowed to give stipulations or rules, do this or do this. They had enough proof to sway someone. And so when you can say something like that,
Right,
when you
but
say it comes in and it seems targeted to attack our ideals, then this isn't a situation where it's so small. This is a big problem. This is a big problem. It's not the worst problem we have in the world. But again, there are too many children who have they have unalived themselves on their lives. They have talked about how miserable they are because they can't keep up with the Joneses and Instagram and all of this. They don't sleep at all. So it's huge. I don't care if it was affecting just 100 kids. That's huge to me because these are lives lost. This is not a small thing.
but again, and I'm not saying it's a small thing, but I don't think I think we're focusing on way too much of the
What else
negative.
should we be focusing on? The
Again,
negative is what's killing kids.
this has been my thing over and over and over again because this is what we do. We have more conversations and we talk more about what we don't like than
What's the
what we
solution
do.
to it though?
It is a platform. It is hold on, we can't
Oh
talk over each
God,
other.
be original.
It is a platform. It you always say be original when you do the
But you're
thing that I
copying
did. But
me,
anyway,
copycat.
but you copy me when you talk while I was talking. But anyway, it's a platform that anybody can use. Anybody can use. So if you believe you're on the side of right and you have the truth and you're upset by the falsities that you see on the platform, use the platform and be the opposition to whatever the thing is. But at the end of the day, we spend way more time talking about it, about what's negative, talking about the videos that are out there. We put our energy into what we don't like
Because we
versus
have to
what we
have
do
these
like. I'm
conversations.
not
We
saying it's
have
not
to.
a
What we need to do is have solution.
we need to have more conversations about what we need to
Right.
put
But
on
here's the
TikTok, what we
thing,
need to
and we
see on
talked about this
TikTok.
earlier. They don't want these. Oh my God, these people who are on TikTok do not want to hear from you if you don't already have 10 million subscribers. Subscribers means That's how intelligent you are. Subscribers means that's how powerful, impactful, you just can't be wrong if you got millions of subscribers. That's the problem. So, and also the other thing is they don't want to hear from somebody our age. You're going to be hard pressed to find many people in that age group, 18 to 25, that are going to have the wisdom and knowledge that we do, that are even going to think like we do. Hell, we got people that's 37, 38 that still cannot understand that they are adults now. So when you have someone like you or I or God, Amanda Seals or whoever's out there trying to speak, they don't want to listen. We are old and ancient and we have no idea what the world is now. So you can put the stuff out there. Good luck getting subscribers to flock to you. Good luck to getting them to listen. The goal, I think we would be better off training our kids, making sure the kids you have access to in your neighborhood or in your school systems or the children that you have born and raised and adopted or what have you are can be those voices at that age group. Because and still do, if you want to create your platform, stay small, your people will find you, your flock will absolutely find you. But on a grander scale, to save lives, that are countless lives that are being lost, dude, I just wish, you know what I wish? I wish that social media could only run like TV used to when we were growing up. At 11:59, you got that after America the Beautiful or whatever came on, and that was it. It was all shut down, and it didn't come back on until 7 in the morning or something like that. 6 in the morning, I don't know, but it's too much. These children are inundated all the time, day in and day out. They're not sleeping, they're not eating, they're following every trend. Remember the Kylie Jenner trend? She lied and said she stuck her lips in those jars, so all those girls were maiming and disfiguring themselves, all because this heifer wouldn't tell them she went and got lip injections. It is insane how stupid people are these days, how immature, gullible, and naive. And the wide reach of social media this is not a rumor that was spread around school and a couple girls made a pact or a couple of girls did it. These are hundreds of thousands of people who are doing stuff because they saw it on social media. Millions of people, maybe, with TikTok added in now. So how do we fix that?
And that's what we're trying to get to. You just mentioned it. You take care of your kids in your house. You raise your people and you talk to the people that you have access to and you give them the information that you have. If you're a content creator and you feel a way about it, make content stand in opposition. Don't let these things stand unopposed and seem like that's the only version of that's the only I hate to say version of the truth because there's no such thing as a version of the truth, but that's the only truth that's out there. Like, but I think to talk about the problem as if it's undefeatable because these kids are not going to listen to us, or you don't have enough, or you don't have enough followers for them to listen to you, or anything like that. That sounds, I hate to say it, pessimistic. That sounds like I don't have hope that this can be turned around, even when offered solutions.
I'm not going to say it's pessimistic. I'm going to say it's realistic. There is a lot of reason to feel like in your lifetime something isn't going to change. I don't think in our lifetime racism is going anywhere, but I do believe that sometime after that, because these white look, it's a whole lot of interracial couples right now, and all these brown babies are being born. So and then the birth rate of Caucasians has been lower than it ever has been. I believe is something that I read. And if that's the case, by 2060, everybody might be brown. So I do believe that at some point there may be an eradication of it. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. The same way I feel with social media, unless there's an uprising. And who's going to
But
lead that charge? Again, if you can control what you can control, if you can give the access and the information to the kids that you have access to, I think that's going to be our best bet to fixing this or defeating this.
yeah, I agree with you that I don't see it changing probably in my lifetime. But that's not a reason. Like if my grandchildren are the ones that benefit from it, if my grandchildren are the ones that benefit from it, then so be it. I still should be doing the work today. I still should be taking whatever step or, living my life in a way that provides for them. Like, yeah, I agree. A lot of change is slow. A lot of change don't happen fast. A lot of change don't happen in your lifetime. But a lot of the things that we enjoy was because somebody sacrificed for something that they never got to see.
Oh,
So,
and
I'm willing to
I
do
never
that.
said that we shouldn't. I'm up here giving
I didn't
solutions.
say that you did.
So I don't just because I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime doesn't mean I'm not going to work on it. I definitely want to help be some type of person or some type of help to that being pushed through. I still, even thinking about how long it could take, I really do. I do have a lot of concern for those who are going to get continuously get caught up in it now, though. I feel like I'm asking for the impossible, but I want a quick fix. Like I said, they could change the time, they could change the age. Maybe in order for you to have a social media account, you have to have a credit card. You got to turn in your driver's license. You got to go. I make it like getting a passport. Make it as difficult as it is to get a passport for you to get a social media account. Because if you're not old enough or responsible enough to have those things, I don't feel like you should have access to the horribleness involved in social media. Yes, there is some good. It's a way for families who don't live in the same state anymore to keep in touch and share pictures of the kids and plan family reunions throughout. Yeah, great, but there's so much bad as well. All these eating disorders, like I said, all these kids unaliving themselves, just a lot of dark, dark stuff. And I don't think that the good necessarily outweighs the bad. I think they're probably pretty dang close, or that the negative is slowly increasing to be more than the positive. Just my perspective.
Yeah, I just think that there's certain things that are unavoidable. We need to just work on it. Well, I mean, and I'm not saying that you're not saying that we should, but we need to work on what's wrong with what are we doing as a society that creates situations where people want to get on social media and do these things. Where somebody wants to lie about how their lips were done and watch as thousands of young girls made themselves sucking on glasses or whatever it is they were doing. Like we gotta, because these things are just tools, and like we're going to have social media and the internet and technology just gives us access to the world. The fact that the world is so fucked up that when we get access to it is messing us up is the larger problem.
What we gonna do about
But
the one percenters? They've been running for a very long time. Like the corruption that we have in the government, the vile, vile, horrible human beings that are billionaires and hundreds of millionaires and all of that good stuff run this country, and all they want is more for themselves. The rich stay rich, the poor stay poor. So this is exactly how this happens. People are so depressed and unhappy, and they're looking for a quick way to get rich. Social media provides incomes. For the first time in ever, these kids can say, I'm not going to college, I'm not going to work retail or fast food. We got businesses closing left and right because they cannot find workers, because these kids are going out here and finding a way to make it themselves by doing anything necessary, anything for likes and clicks. It is dangerous where we are right now. But we have done this by all of the lying, the cheating, and the scamming. And by we, I mean one percenters and super rich people, politicians, rule makers, lawmakers. Those people have been doing stuff so long, keeping people down for so long, that they, again, by any means necessary, are going to try to figure out a way not to be a part of the normal status quo. They don't want to stress and struggle like their parents did. They want to get rich quick. And if that means selling their soul, their bodies, their dignity, their morality, they're going to do so.
and there are two people that got to be fixed in that. They got to be the people that are willing to sell their morality and their bodies or whatever it is to get this money, and the people who are willing to buy it. We're complicit in this. Every time we watch it, every time we share it, every time we like it, every time we comment on it, we're complicit in this. If we start, I do think for a lot of these people, if we actually start ignoring the stuff that we don't want to see, the stuff that we think is bad, the stuff that we disagree with, instead of getting into arguments with people who don't care about your opinion on social media, the people who post this content for that engagement will have to figure out something else to do. But we're complicit in this. We are participating. These people are selling their souls and we're buying it. So we got to take some ownership of that. And we got to back up a little bit. There are two people that are broken in that description. But when I hear us talk about social media like this, what it actually reminds me of is like the early days of hip hop, or probably right around the time like gangster rap became popular. My mother was one of the people that was somehow of the idea that hip hop in and of itself was a negative thing, because there was this genre of music that talked about something she didn't like, or spoke in language that didn't seem appropriate to her or seemed detrimental. And there were people who were trying to pin the woes of the world on these rappers, and it's because of these songs that this gang violence is happening. It's because of this that this is happening. And at the end of the day, hip hop is just a genre of music. It could be used to do anything. You can make uplifting music. You can make reality rap, gangster rap, party rap, whatever. And if the people who hated it so much, or the people who had this idea of what it was doing, put money behind it and supported the artists that they liked and they wanted to hear, and got, because a lot of this stuff is force fed to us. They played on the radio until you had no choice to be like, I guess, it's stuck in my head at this point. But I say that to say that, like, these things are just their tools and their platforms, and they're being misused because people tend to corrupt things. But we have some ownership in that, and we can help to scale. They can't sell things you don't buy. They can't, they can make it attractive. They can make it very hard for you to resist. But at the end of the day, if we participate, then we're a part of it.
I think that there are a lot of us who don't realize what's happening. You luckily have people like Ice Cube and a lot of people who are just now coming out and saying, hey, we wanted to do this. Cardi B said, hey, I tried to make a song that wasn't so rah rah. Yeah, I didn't want to listen to it. So the people who want to bash Cardi B and say you're making terrible music, don't listen to her when she tries to make good music or wholesome music or moral music or whatever they're talking about. But her fans gonna ride with her regardless, and her fan base likes the rah rah. So I understand what you're saying. People have to be supportive. You tell somebody not to do something, you need to support them when they're doing what you want them to. And if you're not, they're gonna go out and do what they need to do to make money. And it seems like everybody who starts making money has to make more money. It's an addiction. It becomes this thing where, they just got to do it even when they know it's wrong. They are sick and drugging themselves up and drinking themselves to death, but still doing it because they are addicted to the money. And I do feel like a lot of people are complicit, but you have those people who are making money off of that. I do believe that gangster rap was a huge problem. You have too many people who have come out and said, Juice World said he started drinking lean at 12 years old because of Future's music. And you can say, oh, well, that's a him problem. No, maybe his mom was a single mom and had to work all night and he was raised by the TV. Okay, it's not the best or ideal. Maybe she was married. Maybe his dad got killed in a head on collision. I'm just saying, hypothetically, we don't always have to say, well, it's his mom's fault. No, life happens because there isn't money given in every neighborhood the same. So you have people who have no real, choice in the matter as far as where they're educated or how they're educated. And so they don't have the same promise of a future as somebody who is, in an affluent community. So however it happens, people buy into this. You have so many people who have killed people, jumped people, beat people up, shot people because the music they listened to told them to. You got the Lil Johns and the UGKs and the 666 Mafias. You had NWA, F the Police, and all of this. And it's just these people who cannot think for themselves. And unfortunately, they've been led astray by their parents, the school system, and whoever else. Latch on to this, feel empowered by it, and go do it. You have kids who go out and become school shooters and things like that because all they do is play GTA and the other thing, Ghost Ops or Call of Duty, because they can't decipher reality from the game. And you, somebody with all the intellectual common sense and book sense and everything else, is like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's no way music and movies and TV can sway people until they come face to face with somebody who's dressed like some kind of character from one of their favorite games, who's blowing people up under the impression that they're going to respawn somewhere else in the neighborhood. I'm telling you, we have to stop as intelligent people pretending that everybody else has that same magical power. They don't. And when you talk about, rap or hip hop was just a musical genre, not to some. To some, it was the manifesto. To some, it was the way that they had to be in life. And so, even if that doesn't make any sense to you, because grateful, you went and had a good education or had great parenting, where does that leave us with the loose cannons who are out here trying to live out through the music, through the so that's right, movies, television shows, or video games?
But that's the thing. Like, there are always going to be those people. There are always going to be people that, if you deliver the perfect message, take it the wrong way. I listen to NWA and play GTA and ain't never thought about robbing a person in my life. Like, it's And you cannot say, and I would take offense to somebody saying because Johnny can't play this video game and separate it from reality, that means you can't have it either. Like I don't think that's
Tell me,
necessary either. I think that's a
tell
step
me what's
too
important
far.
about having a game where you can beat up hookers, shoot and kill people, shoot and kill the cops, rob people. Tell me why there is a need for such a barbaric criminal game. What does anyone, I don't care if you have all the wherewithal and discernment. Why do we need that type of depiction in a video game?
Why do we need slasher horror movies? What is the good about watching another human being be stabbed and carved and
I'll tell
killed and
you.
murdered grotesquely, and you want the more and more gross
I love
and
when people try
vivid
to answer
depiction
a
of the
question
murder
with
that you
another
can get?
question. That's not how we're gonna do this. But I'll tell you why you need
No, no,
slasher
no.
film.
We're gonna do it how
Let
we
me
gonna
tell you
do it.
how we let me tell you how we go. I'm gonna
Okay, so
answer
go
your
ahead. Go ahead.
question because I ain't no punk. So here we go. We need slasher films because you need to know how to juke, how to jive. You need to know what work and what don't. You need to know
No.
that you don't walk in the house talking about Johnny, is that you? You get in the car and you leave. So these are tools that we can use to make sure that we survive events like this. Next question.
Okay. And you should have those tools, even though Johnny over there can't watch the movie and not think that he should put on this ghost face mask and kill all his
Okay,
friends.
we can even follow along with that. I'm okay with that. Get rid of horror films and violent video games and
No,
violent music.
no, no. Teach your children. Take care of your kids. And if you can't, and there is always going to be somebody who's going to corrupt something, no matter how perfect it is. And we cannot get in this race to like appease the lowest common denominator. Just because you can't handle something doesn't mean everybody's supposed to be taken from everybody and we have to structure our thing. I hated that in school. I hated that in school. That when I was in a class, the teacher had to teach to the person who learned the slowest, which means that I just had to sit there and like suffer through or try to go learn it on my own or go try to find some other program. Like I don't think that's how society is supposed to work. And there are always going to be those people. And
Let me tell you something.
we do our best for them. You provide alternatives. You make it so that that's not the only thing available,
I will say
and
this.
you provide alternatives. You give other information.
Any of the people who have lost their children to school shootings, where the school shooter turned around and said, I played this game all day. I played that game all day. I was so enraged. I was so tired. Since I spent 12 hours a day playing this video game, I felt like empowered to go and do this. I guarantee you that those parents wish that game didn't exist. I feel like I understand
And
what you're
what I
saying when you
guarantee,
say you don't want everyone to miss out, but I don't understand how anybody's life would be lacking if GTA didn't exist. It brings forth no value in life. Do you know how many video games you can create where you're not killing people? Get rid
it
of
bring
Fortnite, get rid of Ghost Ops, get rid of all of the games that teach you that there are so many young babies out here who, and I know this is all on the parents, but okay, you got a parent who was too tired, accidentally fell asleep and left their gun out. Cool. These kids are so desensitized to the fact that guns are real and you do not respawn somewhere else in the neighborhood, they accidentally kill themselves or each other. Again, if everybody wasn't so loose with the stupid crap that we create and give access to worldwide, let's say you never let your kids play that. This is an example in my real life. Never let my kids play any of those games. But you know what my son was doing? He was, happy birthday to my son, June 5th. He's 10 years old today. Ruru. He would go to school and all his friends would talk about it. So he would come home and on YouTube, he would watch other people play it. The people who get paid in Twitch and all the other stuff, he would watch them play it to see what the hoopla was about. Even though he never played it, he got to see the trash on YouTube. So I had to figure out how to block and parent control that. But what I'm saying is get rid of it. Whose life is going to be made worse because GTA doesn't exist?
all
Nobody's.
right, and we can try because this extends far and wide. And this is another one of those like if you do the, I'm not accusing you of anything, but if you do the research and you look at historically stuff like this, where we're saying because these are the GTA slasher films, all those things, gangster rap is adult entertainment on all of these products. There are labels in every one of these instances. You're not supposed to give access to minors or people underage to this material, this content. If you're not a certain age, you're not supposed to be able to buy that video game. If you're not a certain age, you're not supposed to be able to see that movie. If you're not a certain age, you're not supposed to be able to buy that CD or listen to that song. But it
Yes,
happens.
and it happens even when you
Same. Hold on,
don't.
hold on, hold on. And so because those are so those are
But you
adult
can watch
things
people
intended
do it
for
on
adults.
YouTube.
Kids get access to them, and then kids do something they don't like. Alcohol is an adult beverage. It's an adult beverage. It's meant for adults. There's laws against selling it to children. You cannot just give your minor, alcohol and it's going to be an okay thing. But they get access to it. Are we saying
Get rid of
let's get
alcohol.
rid of
Yep.
alcohol? Let's get rid of
Yes.
cigarettes. Let's get rid of anything that got bad language. You understand the society that you're describing because it's not democratic. I can tell you
I
that.
don't care at this point. I think we have so many corrupt and evil and messed up people at the hands of all of this stuff. Let's wipe it clean. Let's do some Demolition Man type of
So who
stuff.
gets to decide the standard of
Me.
morality in this world? Yeah. So you just want to you want to be a tyrant. You want despotism.
Maybe that's the part that we make democratic. We vote on these things. You know what? But
So
you can't.
what happens when the Satanists win?
First of all,
Like,
that's
like,
sick.
come on.
But no, you first of all, you can't vote if you a Satanist. You can't vote if you don't go to church. You can't vote if you not
Wow.
30 or above. You can't vote if you ever had a ticket, if you ever been a felon, if you ever had a
Yeah,
misdemeanor.
this is no
You
longer. I thought this
you
was
can't
America.
vote if you in the 1%. You can't vote if you make more. You know what? You can only vote
Wow.
if you make in between 50 50,000,
Ooh,
50,000 and
it's got
250,000.
socioeconomic.
50,000 and
Like
250,000.
this is
You got to be an
extreme discrimination.
evangelical, what you jig, whatever they call that. You got, come on. I mean, the rules, just need to get the best of the best and the cream of the crop.
Extreme
I am,
discrimination.
you know what?
Ooh.
I'm
But hey,
joking.
don't y'all ever vote for Tara Michelle on nothing. I swear to God.
I am joking, but as a parent, I kind of sort of feel like there are days when I do want to go to crazy extremes like that. Like if you go back to Demolition Man, the movie, great movie, Wesley Snipes, Sylvester Stallone, Sandra Bullock, whole bunch of people, and Dennis Leary living in the sewers. You go back and you look at that. What they were trying to do was make a society that was better. And you had a bunch of rebels and people who did not want to deal with that. They still wanted to eat everything bad, be unhealthy, be dirty and filthy, just to hold on to some semblance of being just, vile creatures. I don't mind a world where you're not allowed to curse. You get fined if you cursed. I don't mind a world where they figure out how to let people have relations and they don't have to swab bodily fluids if they don't want to have babies or catch STDs. I don't mind a world that is better than the one that we're in. I don't want anyone to be held prisoner or brainwashed, but I just think it's okay to create a moral world. I think there should never be a world where Sexy Red is voted one of the hottest anythings. There should never be a world where people like who talk as disgusting and vile as Sexy Red or Meg Thee Stallion or Cardi B are played on open airwaves. You should have to be 35 and up to be able to buy their music and sign a promissory note that's punishable by death to say that you will make sure no kid ever hears it. I mean, I'm being serious.
There are countries where this
Yeah,
censorship exists.
let's adopt some of that stuff. Maybe we would be better for it.
No,
I don't
no,
know.
no. Let's not
I
adopt some
just,
of
you
those
know
stuff.
what? It's too much for me. The things that we, like I said, it's people are inundated at all times. Nothing ever turns off. Why can't we get to a space where we just stop bombarding people with so much, giving them access to so much, creating the most vile, horrible things that we can think of, and then we wonder why people be so messed up.
No, I don't know. I think we need to take care of people. We need to love one another and be kinder and nicer to one another, and try to alleviate some of these things that cause people to have to turn to these imaginary worlds or these substances or these likes
Okay,
or
well,
these
give them
whatever
better
it is for
education,
any type of
give them better
validation.
jobs,
See,
pay them so they can live, give them a cost of living wage.
you are
Come on.
the funniest person on the
You
world.
need to fix
You
how
hilarious.
people are mistreated. Nobody should
I
be
need a
homeless.
button.
Nobody should be in poverty. Nobody should have to send their kids to schools that don't have any accreditation. You fix all of that and give people enough money to live comfortably instead of letting the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. And people won't be trying trying to escape from their reality. But you also need to tame down how the kind of stuff you let people create. We do need some restrictions on music and movies and video games.
Art is art.
Man,
Art is art.
F
And once you,
all
it's
of
a
that.
slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope. Protect your people. Protect your loved ones. Like I said this before. I think I said this in our first episode. Evil exists in this world. Evil will always exist in this world. There will be evil people in this world. If you're not one of those evil people, you only got two jobs: protect yourself and the people you love from those people, and never
But we
become one of
create
them.
them.
But the idea, we know
When you
how do
are
we create
just
them?
just creating such evil things and pushing it through the airwaves and across the TV screens all the time, we are creating these types of people, these deviants who may have been able to grow up and get that stuff out and those voices out of their head if there was some kind of morality in anything that they were given access to. Look at again, I go back to my
All
kid.
right, but
I didn't let him play the game, wouldn't buy the game, wouldn't let nobody in the house
right,
have the
but
game,
again,
and instead he found a way to go watch other people
right.
play it on
So he
YouTube.
got to it. He got to it, but because he has morality given to him from somebody, you're not concerned that he's about to go out and be the next serial killer. You're not ever going to be able to control the entirety of the environment that you exist in. You are going to have to learn how to one, identify what your values and what your belief system is, teach that to your children, and stand and live in it. But the idea that we can keep telling everybody else how they're supposed to act, is I
We
don't
do
think
that
it's
every
right.
day. We
I
have
don't think any,
laws. You can't ride on the wrong
and
side
that's
of the
the.
street. You can't jaywalk. You can so why not? Why can't we
But there
say
is a limit to the, because slavery was a law at one point. Discrimination, segregation was a law at one point. Yes, we have laws to tell people what to do and what not to do, but they're not. You can't just make any and every law and tell people, you know, you can't. You have to allow
you can
people
be creative and
to
not
be
be
free and
so
be human.
terrible? GTA does not need to exist. You don't need to have these films that are so realistic they give grown-ups nightmares. There is a limit. We don't have to be so excessive. And
There are countries like that in this on this planet
yes,
right
there
now.
are countries where if you steal, you get your hands cut off. There are countries where if
Yeah.
you do something to a woman you ain't supposed to, you get castrated. Like I don't understand why we don't. Why everyone doesn't have those laws.
Oh, you could just go there.
You could go there and rot in the pit.
I don't want
The
to go
pit.
there because I like this. I'm good
That's the
here.
problem with you.
That's the problem with me.
I'm done talking to you about this because you're not gonna make me angry tonight.
I'm sorry that you feel so triggered.
You just one of those people who wants all this bad stuff to stay around, and you wonder why people are so jacked up because of you, because you let this stuff happen.
Oh, people are jacked up.
All right, well, that's the end of this show, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I gave some good gems in here. Don't listen to anything that J. Flan said at all. But
I would like it if somebody who listens to this show can go through and find out how many times I was talking and she just started talking, and then I shut up and just let her talk. I just want y'all to do that for me.
first of all, you be talking about stuff I don't want to hear.
Wow, that's the
Oh
barrier.
my
for
god.
it.
Guys, check in with us. Check in with us on our YouTube page. What is our YouTube? One Man, One Woman podcast.
Yeah, that's it.
And anywhere where you can find us. If you're on my social media, his social media, come reach out to us and let us know what you think. This is a conversation I could just continue to have. And sometimes I am a bit extreme. I do understand, but I'm about protecting the kids and protecting people's sanity and stopping as many crazy mass murderers as we can. And sometimes I get a little passionate. And I'm pretty sure when it comes to this show, more people are going to agree with you than with me. And I'm okay with that. But I just hope that somebody understands the level of passion and determination I have and what I'm willing to lose in order to make the world a better, safer place for the kids. That's all I want to do, to be honest. I'm not for big government. I don't like for government to be in our business, but I just think some of the stuff that we do is outrageous. It's outrageous and it's uncalled for. But anyway, guys, as always, thanks for listening. This is a really long show, but like I always say, be good to yourself and be kind to others. Holla.
Be the light. Holla.